Michael Pare, Diane Lane, Rick Moranis, and Amy Madigan in a Walter Hill film, Streets of Fire.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today we're here to talk about the 1984 rock and roll fable and its brand new 4K release from Shout Select, Streets of Fire. But before we dive into that, if you are a fan of 4K Blu-ray reviews, movie reviews, some tech and game reviews along the way, then this is the channel for you, and nothing would help this channel out more than by you liking this video and subscribing to the channel. So Streets of Fire is directed by Walter Hill. It originally came out in 1984. And it stars Michael Pare, Rick Moranis, Diane Lane, and Willem Dafoe, amongst many other character actors that appear in this film. So Streets of Fire is a strange film. I'm not the biggest musical fan, but I wouldn't say that this is a musical. There is musical elements to this film. It moves along like a jukebox musical in a sort of way, but it also feels very much like a 1950s film, did a line of coke, and came out in the 80s. That's exactly what this film feels like, and honestly, that is right up my alley. I love Streets of Fire ever since the first time I saw it. Now, a little bit of a caveat for you guys. I've said on this channel before, my second favorite musical artist of all time is Meatloaf. And the guy behind Meatloaf who wrote most of his biggest hits is Jim Steinman. And Jim Steinman wrote some of the music for this movie, including probably the most famous song from this, Nowhere Fast, which was also recorded by Meatloaf in 1984. So this movie was kind of a movie that would just work perfectly for me. You know, it's over the top. It shows that 80s access wrapped in like a 1950s bow. You know, the line delivery is all just kind of cheesy. It feels very much like a Western in some parts, in the fact that this one guy has to save this girl with the help of some of his friends who they're building up this group together who's going to save the day. And it just works for me. And Walter Hill is a director I don't think we've talked about too much on this channel. We did a little bit when we did the review for 48 Hours and Another 48 Hours. But this guy also directed The Warriors. So through the late 70s and early 80s, he had a certain style to him that really not many people bring up, in the sense that most of his movies do kind of feel like a certain look to them. Like a lot of them, if not most of them, take place in like cloudy weather, overcasty weather. Like in this, it's the city. It's the city. The setting is amazing in this film. The streets are always wet. It's raining in a lot of scenes, and it looks beautiful on your screen when it does. Let me just tell you, the neon pops. This world that they created in here is phenomenal. And you get a lot of great actors coming up who are young, not yet big and famous. You get Rick Moranis at the time. He's probably the most famous because this came out the same year as Ghostbusters, and that shot him to superstardom as the gatekeeper. And I love Rick Moranis. And this is a combination of like Rick Moranis's like nervous characters, like the ones from Little Shop of Horrors or Parenthood, not like his like fun, loving dad kind of characters like in Little Giants or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. We get that more stuck-up Rick Moranis here, and he plays that character perfect. And Rick Moranis is a national treasure. I'm a huge fan of his, always been since I was a kid. And, to see him play this character, you love to hate him. That's really what he does great in this. Diane Lane didn't take off like until like the 90s, but here she is doing her part well. She's not, she's kind of more of like the MacGuffin. This is really the stuff that she's the one that we're here to protect and save. She does sing, but I believe her singing is dubbed. And then you also get Willem Dafoe, turning it up to 10. Willem Dafoe banging out one-liners. This is To Live and Die in LA, Spider-Man Willem Dafoe, not Art House, The Lighthouse Willem Dafoe. We get a young, handsome Willem Dafoe here wearing some of the most ridiculous clothes you've ever seen in your life. It looks like everybody in this movie, as far as in his gang, he plays Raven. He's like the leader of this big motorcycle gang. They're all dressed like Robert Halford from Judas Priest. They're all badasses, but they kidnap Diane Lane's character right in the middle of her performance. Nobody intervenes because this is a big bad gang. But luckily for them, Michael Pare's character happened to be rolling in on that very same day, and luckily for him and the town, he used to have a fling with her, but he gets hired by Rick Moranis' character to save her. And he's coming along, and they're also bringing along my favorite character in this movie, played by Amy Madigan, and she's another one, a staple of the 80s, Uncle Buck, and my personal favorite of hers as the wife of Kevin Costner in Fields of the Dreams. She is always good. She has that very distinct voice, and she always plays like these, you know, tough
Next time I'm right in your nuts, pal, you know what I mean?
people, and she does it so well, and this is probably the leader of the pack of that. Her lines, some of her lines, but everyone's lines can be cheesy, but they work for her character in this. You know, she always claims to be a soldier, she's down for anything. And, you know, the clothes she's wearing throughout this film, you know, she's a badass. I loved her in this movie. She's my favorite character in this film, and it's not really even close. You know, her acting style that just fit perfectly with the 80s. I don't know if she's done anything, you know, since then, but I just remember her from those 80s films, and she was always good, and this is probably where she's her best, in my opinion. But like I said earlier, the set design, the costumes that everybody are wearing, all are awesome. The music throughout this film is great, you know, but really it's the production design that really deserves the most attention. That and the cinematography are all great. Now, this movie is edited very quick, and I guess this time because I was paying attention to it with a critical eye, there is a lot of quick edits, and I think that's supposed to be there intentionally, but sometimes it can be a little jarring, like when you see someone get hit in the face and we got to see it from like 7 different angles, you know, and they have these really cool transitions, which I did appreciate, but some of those editing choices I would have pulled back on, but again, I only really noticed them on this watch through because I was looking for them, so maybe this will work for other people more than it does for me. Now, you can't unsee something, and now that I've noticed this, I can't unsee it, so hopefully I didn't ruin it for you guys, but there is a lot of jump editing going on in here, very kinetic editing style, which works for the most part, but sometimes can be a little bit jarring. And then obviously the music. This is an album I listen to all the time, even if I'm not watching the film, because the music in this I love throughout. I can dream about you. You know, I heard that song before I saw the movie. That should just tell you how much of this movie really crossed over into the pop culture in the 1980s. And this is a 1984 film, came out the same year as Terminator. And man, 1984, if you were alive in 1984, you guys must have been living the life, because if I would have got to see this in theaters, I feel like it would have probably changed my life. I like I said, this checks a lot of my personal boxes. Over the top, cheesy 80s film with a lot of one-liners. It looks beautiful, music that I'm into. Yeah, Streets of Fire, when they announced this on 4K, I ordered it immediately. I knew this was one that I had to have. I'm not a big musical guy, but I do feel like this isn't exactly a musical. They label it as a rock and roll fable, and I think that's a perfect way to describe it. And you know what? That rock and roll fable works for me. And if it works for you, maybe you'd be interested in grabbing this Shout Select 4K Blu-ray that we're going to talk about right now. So Shout Select and Shout Factory in general have become one of the most random studios as far as it goes to their physical releases. They seem to be just all over the place as far as quality of packaging and discs go. But I'm happy to say that this is one of their better releases in a long time. But right off the top, let's get some of the negatives out of the way, and that is going to be its packaging. So this is a collector's edition, and you do not get a slipcover with it. It just came in a very standard 4K packaging. And I gotta be honest, I was a little bit disappointed with this packaging. I would have liked the slipcover. There is no reversible slipcover art as well, so you can't reverse this. This is what it is, and I do like it. I like the art design of the cover. I love the color combination. That's a great colorway. One of my personal favorites, red, yellow, and black. It always looks cool. When you pop it open, you get individual disc design, so it's a 3-disc set. You get the 4K, a compressed version of that 4K down the Blu-ray, and then you get all your special features on that third bonus disc. And let me just tell you, them including that third bonus disc, it's awesome. You get a full-length documentary on top of many other featurettes and another old documentary on here. They really didn't spare no expense when it came to their extras. I really think they did a phenomenal job of it. It's in line with some of their previous collector's editions, such as Army of Darkness, but the packaging kind of takes away from that. Like, it doesn't feel like Army of Darkness. It doesn't have that special feeling, even though this is a 3-disc set with a full-length documentary, which anyone who knows me knows that's the coup de grace of special features, is having a full-length documentary looking back on the making of this film. And a special film like this, which I'm a huge fan of, and you're catering to the collector like myself, I would have just loved like a steelbook or a slipcover just to make it feel a little bit special on my shelf. But Shout Select, they really don't do many slipcovers, but Shout Select also usually doesn't do these many discs. Like earlier this year we had, or I guess it was last year now, we had Rollerball on 4K, and that was a 1-disc set. Beautiful transfer, but just 1 disc. And it's pretty weird that on this, a film like this gets a 3-disc set. So I don't know who makes the choices there, but it also just is strange because it still costs $27.99 brand new. So sometimes you get 3 discs for $27.99 with a slipcover, while other times you get 1 disc with no slipcover, no reversible art, and they're the same price. So, you know, you kind of got to make your decision based on that, because they're not going to adjust their price for the amount of discs or the packaging. It's all going to be about the same. So I guess sometimes they make out the deal, and I guess sometimes we do. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just really speculating at this point. Now, the film itself, yeah, this was one of the best 4Ks I have ever seen as far as an old film goes coming to 4K. The transfer is incredible. It's a new 2022 scan of the original camera negative, and this is the best this film has ever looked. This is the kind of film, though, you want to bring to 4K. So you get Dolby Vision, HDR10, and because this movie is so colorful, the neon lights, the rainy street, the neon reflecting in the rain, the opening shot when the camera pans up from the rainy, wet ground up into the lights, you knew it. You knew it right away that this was a good 4K. The blacks were deeps, the colors were vibrant, you know, it pops off your screen. The contrast was amazing. The skin tones all look natural. There's scenes in the rain towards the end of this movie that, I mean, crystal clear. I felt like I could walk into my TV screen and I would be soaking wet from the rain that I was looking at on my screen. I mean, I can't sell these visuals short. They're a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5. I recommend just getting this disc just to see these visuals. I was honestly blown away by that. There was barely any sort of flaw in the visuals that I saw. I didn't see any dips in quality. I didn't see anything that looked muddy or super grainy. Like, you know, sometimes with older films, source material does become an issue. I've complained about it myself here, or I've tried to make people aware that source material is a real thing and, you know, you can't fix everything. But they did a damn good job fixing this one. Let me just tell you, I absolutely loved what they did with the visuals on this. This is the best looking this film has ever been. I cannot imagine this looking any better unless for some reason I get lucky and somebody invites me to a Dolby theater and they're able to play this 4K in the Dolby theater. That is the only way this 4K visually can look better. And the audio? Dolby Atmos track. Brand new Dolby Atmos track. And the Dolby Atmos track and those new 4K scan of the visuals, those are the only new things that have been added to this. Everything else has been previously released, like I mentioned in the extras. They're not new extras. I just appreciated those extras. Those are my kind of extras, but they are new. I just want to be clear on that. The only new things you're getting on here are that new 4K scan and that new Dolby Atmos track. Because I do want to be clear that Shout Select has released this in its previous form in 2017 on just Blu-ray, which might be the Blu-ray that's in here. I am not 100% sure if that Blu-ray is a compressed version of this new scan or if it's an old version of the 4K. And like I said, the audio is phenomenal. It's a Dolby Atmos track. It's one of the best. You know, you can set your remote down, and this is a music-heavy film. There's action in it, and all that just sounds crisp, clear, makes great use of your rears. Everything seems to be spread out perfectly. You know, it felt like an Atmos track where it's supposed to, where the audio is supposed to feel like it's around you. I think they did a phenomenal job on the mix on this. It doesn't feel like a cheap, let's throw on the Atmos label on it. No, it feels like somebody actually went in there and did a great job mixing it. Is it the best Atmos track I've ever heard? No, but it really, it's hard for me to find a flaw, if that makes sense. I don't have any complaints about it other than the fact it's just not the best. But it's still really damn good. I really don't have many complaints about the audio track. I thought, if I'm going to be watching this, I'm always going to be watching it with this Dolby Atmos track on, because I thought they did a great job on the mix on it. Anytime that I could set my remote down, that's always a telltale sign that they went in and mixed it pretty well. You know, with the audio changes, especially in a film like this where we go from dialogue to music heavy scenes to fights and everything like that, if it all could be just set on one volume throughout, you got yourself a good mix, and I think they did a damn good job on this one as well. Now, comparing these visuals to that Blu-ray, this is why I'm not 100% sure what scan is on that Blu-ray. It's a big jump from that Blu-ray to the 4K, like a big noticeable jump to the 4K. The Blu-ray looks like how I've seen this in the past. You know, this was on Netflix for a while. I think I watched this on Netflix last year, actually, and it's a noticeable jump from that scan, which I guess is probably the 2017 scan, but I could be wrong. It could be an older scan than that, because it did look like a huge jump from that Netflix scan compared to the Blu-ray scan. So that's why I don't know which scan is which. Does Netflix have the 2017 scan, or does Netflix have a scan that's previous to that? Because it does look better, this 4K, than both of them, but way more than that Netflix scan. But again, streaming, compression, those are real things, and that could have an effect on it as well. I'm not 100% sure, but what I can tell you for 100% certainty is that this 4K is the best version of Streets of Fire that you will ever get. I'm pretty damn sure of that. I can't imagine it looking better. So if you are a fan of Streets of Fire, I can definitely recommend grabbing this at its full price. You get a lot in here with a 3-disc set. You get the 4K, the Blu-ray, a special features disc that features a full-length documentary on there, a beautiful upgrade, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. This thing has the works. It just has some really disappointing packaging that I really wish they would have, kind of brought out the bells and whistles for. But as long as that disc is good, that all can be forgiven. And this is one of the best discs that I have seen in 2023, given we're only in March. But man, I'm happy, and I think you guys are going to be really happy too. So if you do want to grab this disc, I can give it a final score of 9.5 out of 10. I'm only taking 0.5 off for the packaging, but that disc is solid. That audio track is just so good. And I'm a huge fan of the film. So being a big fan of the film maybe kind of clouds my vision a little bit, but it's hard for me to find flaws in this other than the packaging. It's just all around, I'm very, very happy with my purchase. Under 30 bucks. I think you guys will be happy too. I can recommend you grab it. And if you want to grab it through our Amazon affiliate link, I will leave that link in the description below. You can grab it through there, and it costs no extra money for you, and it really does help this channel out so we can keep bringing you these 4K Blu-ray reviews. Anyway, guys, it's also Monday, and that means it's time for our digital code giveaway, and we're going to send that over to Future John right now. Thanks, Past John, and that handsome fella is correct. It is Monday, and that means it's time for us to pick our 2 winners of the digital code giveaway. If you happen to be new to the channel and you just happen to be watching today's review and you're wondering what the hell is a digital code giveaway? Well, on Friday's video, Matt or I will always ask you guys 2 digital code giveaway questions. This week it happened to be, what is your favorite franchise of all time and what is your favorite sports film? And we got a lot of great answers there. It took all the way, I believe, until Saturday night for somebody to say the Terminator franchise, which I just assumed that everybody here on the channel was a fan of the Terminator franchise. I thought that's what we all bonded over, but I guess I was wrong.
Life's been good to me.
Not too many answers that were similar. It seems like everyone has their own favorite franchises. We got a couple for the Lord of the Rings, but that seems to be the only ones that overlapped. And sports films, again, all over the place. A lot of good ones. I really enjoyed the people who picked comedies and overlapped on those. Like, I had 2 people actually said that their favorite sports films are Ready to Rumble, which is just speaking to me and Matt's heart, because we love Ready to Rumble here on this channel as well. That was definitely a movie that was of the time, but if you were a wrestling fan back in 2000, you definitely did enjoy that movie. And just in case you were wondering, WCW really did put on a 3-layered cage match if you are a fan of Ready to Rumble. And I unfortunately saw that match. It's horrible. Ready to Rumble is a much better movie than that entire match is. And also, before we do this week's giveaway, did you guys watch the Oscars? What did you think? I loved Everything Everywhere All at Once. It was one of my favorite films of last year. I loved the 4K Blu-ray for it. I was really happy to see it pretty much sweep all the awards it was nominated in. It's not my favorite film of 2022, but it was pretty high on the list. I was glad that it won. Obviously there was, I would have liked like Top Gun Maverick to get the win. It would have been like a bold choice, but Everything Everywhere All at Once is a great genre film. It's really nice, and all those speeches that we got from everybody who won, Michelle Yeoh, Ke Huy Quan, and then obviously Jamie Lee Curtis, which, Stephanie Sue was probably my favorite actress in that movie, and she was in the same category, and Angela Bassett. I really thought it was her reward to lose, and I guess she still did. I'm happy Jamie Lee Curtis won. That's Laurie Strode, and she won it in the same year she played Laurie Strode in a horrible Halloween movie in Halloween Ends. It's cool, it's poetic. I'm happy to see her win, but it kind of feels a little bit, I don't know. I feel a little bit dirty about the fact that she won and Angela Bassett didn't win. I really thought that this was Angela Bassett's time, but both of them have never won an Academy Award, and I'm glad to see that at least one of them did. And overall, the show itself, it was a little bit boring. It's the typical Academy Awards, but yeah, nobody got slapped this year, so you got to be taking that as a win. Although, that probably made for a more entertaining show last year and gave us a lot more to talk about, but it should be all about the winners of this year's Academy Awards. I'm still a little bitter, though, that Michael Giacchino didn't get an Academy Award nomination for the best score of last year, which is The Batman, but we all know how the Academy feels about superhero films. We're lucky we got Black Panther Wakanda Forever in there, or else we wouldn't have gotten any in that genre. Although, there are some movies that were nominated for Best Picture that really deserve some recognition, such as Tar, because I don't think many people saw Tar, and that is definitely a phenomenal film. But I'll keep rambling on about the Oscars, and we're here today to do our digital code giveaway, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. So I put your names on this magic wheel behind me, as long as you guys answered one of those digital code giveaway questions. And if you happen to be one of the lucky winners today, you're going to have your choice of the digital codes that you saw on your screen before you today. So without further ado, let's spin this magic wheel. Time for the first wheel spin. All right, Carlos, congratulations. All right, Carlos, we're going to remove you and spin again, all right? Second wheel spin coming up. Damn, that was close. Daniel N. All right, congratulations, Carlos and Daniel. Daniel, I know this is probably your second or third win possibly, so you know what to do. And Carlos, I think this is your first win, so congratulations. Carlos leaves us some great comments all the time on all of our other videos, so I know he's checking out all of our videos, not just the digital code giveaway. And really happy to see you win, Carlos. Daniel, I'm really happy to see you win too. But for everyone who didn't win, come back to this Friday's video. I or Matt will ask you 2 more giveaway questions. All you have to do is answer one of those questions in the comment section below, and you can enter into next week's digital code giveaway, where you get another shot at this. But for Daniel and Carlos, you guys know how this works. Direct message us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or email us at letstalkentmt@gmail.com. Let us know which of the digital codes you want. As long as the other winner didn't take it, then that digital code is all yours. And anyway, guys, if you want to keep supporting this channel, nothing supports this channel more than by you liking this video, subscribing to the channel, searching for us on all podcast services, liking us there, subscribing to us there, giving us a 5-star rating. And then when you're done doing all of that, I want you guys to throw on a leather jacket, slick back that hair real nice, run out into those streets, and hopefully if you're lucky, it's raining out, and I want you to tell every single other person you see about Let's Talk Entertainment and Media. Enjoy your day, guys.